Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Varus updated complete guide for patch 4.4, and it's going to be our first 4.4 updated guide, and this is going to be for Lethality Varus. Now, this is technically an old build from, I say quote unquote old, but because the build didn't actually change in this patch, but this has been a popular build for a couple of weeks now, and all the top Varuses are going for it if they're going for lethality instead of going for other builds like AP or on hit, for example. And basically this build involves skipping Manamune and going straight for Essence Weaver. Now, honestly, a lot of champs like MF or Varus, the main point of Manamune is, honestly, yes, it does increase your damage, and yes, it is very gold efficient, but honestly, the most important thing it gives you is mana, because gold efficiency is great, yes, and it does give you damage, yes, but other items honestly just give you more damage. So more and more often, people are starting to skip out on Manamune and going for other items. So before we get too deep into it, of course, as usual, don't forget to take a look at Varus' updated complete guide, which I will, not Varus' updated complete guide, Varus' basic guide, which I will put up in the cards above for his skills leveling, order tips and tricks, as well as some combos. But yeah, back into what I was talking about. So a lot of people are nowadays skipping out on the Manamune in favor of going for other like more damagey items. In particular, Essence Weaver as a first item is actually really good, even though it does not increase your ability damage by too much if you don't build crit like in this build, but it's still 22.5%, and you know, getting that early is going to help you scale well into the game, because obviously it's a percentage of your damage, so this is going to increase your damage even more over time, because obviously you're going to do more and more damage, and the 22.5% extra damage is going to be more and more. So as I mentioned, Essence Weaver for your first item, AD ability haste crit, as well as the passive I've been talking so much about. Also the mana siphon passive, which is very relevant because you really have mana issues and you don't have Manamune. So next up, you go for your first lethality item, or rather you can go for your boots as your next item actually, or you can even go for boots as your first item, but the build order is not exactly fixed. But here we have boots of dynamism. Of course, this gives you the armor penetration. Lethality build, obviously this makes the most sense as boots, but of course you can opt for defensive boots if you you know, if you really need the defensive boots, like if you're playing against full AD, or like you're playing against like 3 huge AP threats, something like that. Then you go for your first lethality, full lethality item, which is going to be your Yomu's Ghostblade. This is going to be your best lethality item choice. It's going to give you 55 AD, 15 ability haste, 15 lethality, and of course that momentum passive to give you the movement speed and the attack speed when you break the, or rather when you stack it up. So next up, we're going to go for our armor penetration item. So this is going to be Sorada's Grudge, which is going to give you ability haste damage, as well as of course the slow and the armor penetration. Now you can go for Mole Reminder if you're playing against a team that has a lot of healing and you need the anti-heal. Honestly, the Sorada's Grudge slow is useful on Varus because you're at long range and you're slowing people, but honestly, if you need anti-heal is going to be more important, so you don't greed for the Sorada's Grudge slow. And then most of the time over here, Serpent's Fang is a relatively good idea if the enemy team has shielding. If they have a lot of shielding, you can of course swap this around and go for Serpent's Fang you know, earlier as well if you really need that. Otherwise, if you don't need Serpent's Fang, you have a couple other options. Your first option is going to go for Age of Night. This is of course going to help you with your survivability, especially if there are champs on the enemy team like, you know, those Blitzcranks, those Threshes that you need to immune a spell to catch you out. Even maybe a Fizz, for example, this is gonna help you out a lot. And then lastly, if you don't need the safety and you don't need the shield breaking abilities, then your best option for the most damage is just going to be Dustblade, because obviously Dustblade simply just does the most damage. So that's just that. And then finally you top it off with a GA. So now we're going to get into a little bit of an interesting part, which is going to be the runes. So first up, First Strike is no surprise. Obviously, lethality, you want to burst people down, so First Strike makes a lot of sense. But here is where, you know, it gets funky, which is going to be your inspiration tree. So why are we going for an inspiration tree? Well, basically, I realized that Varus with this build, his mana issues are horrible. I feel myself running out of mana constantly. So how do I fix the problem? I take Mana Flow Ban to get myself more mana, and I take Sweet Tooth to restore more mana. I mean, Sweet Tooth honestly is not even needed, but what better options are there? I'm not going to take Hex Flash or item crafting on Varus, so Sweet Tooth is going to help with the mana and the health. Also gives you the goal, which at this point in time, with how underrated Sweet Tooth is, it's honestly not that bad. And Manifold Band, of course, on the mana. And then we have Transcendence, which is very, very useful on Varus, because, of course, being Lethality Varus, you rely completely on spells, and this is going to help you to get out more spells more often, so this is honestly great. And then we have Mark of the Week as our secondary rune, because when you combo with Varus, you start off with your ulti, which is going to proc your Mark of the Week, and then you hit him with a WQ, and that Q is going to proc your Mark of the Week, and it's going to do so much additional damage, so that's going to be amazing. And then for, or by the way, just a quick comparison, you would have gone for the precision tree here, generally. So you do lose out on Brutal, your Coup de Grace, and your Omnivamp. Of course, losing out on Omnivamp is not the biggest deal for Varus because he's at long range anyways. Losing out on Coup de Grace damage is a little bit sad, but Brutal damage honestly not too bad either because you're at long range poking as well. So overall, I think the loss is not too big, so I do like to go for Inspiration. This is just my personal preference though. It's not like what the top Varus are using actually, but I think that Inspiration is great on Varus. For the spells, I like to go for Flash and together with Ghost, and if I really need to, I will take the Exhaust, of course, to exhaust targets. Otherwise, the Ghost is really helpful just to, have more movement speed to kite around fights, even though you are supposed to be attacking at range, but sometimes you need to use it to run away or run forward to catch someone with an ulti, something like that. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's move on to talking about our gameplay. Okay, so here we have the gameplay. Now, as usual guys, of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will be sure to either reply or at least give it a like. Okay, so let's jump straight into the gameplay. Now, here you can see that this Lulu for some reason is just walking up, so we're just gonna get a little bit of some free hits on her. Pretty much just chunk her down already, and that's pretty amazing. Now we're playing against a Zeri Lulu, which in the early game is not really a problem, but if they manage to scale up into the late game without getting too far behind, it's going to be a major issue because Zeri is going to be very, very hard to kill. So me and Leona definitely are stronger in the earlier stages of the game, but as I said, as we progress, we are going to get outscaled, and we do not want that to happen. So we want to ideally close the game out, not too late, because if we get to that point, it's going to be trouble for our team. Of course, we do technically have a Master Yi and a Kill on our team who also scales very well, but I don't really want to answer the question of which team has a better late game when we get to that, because obviously it doesn't just depend on the champions, it depends on your state, as in how fed or how behind you are. And personally, I am not going to scale well into the late game because obviously I'm building Lethality, so I don't want to reach late game because I know I won't have any kind of ability to carry in this situation. I went back for the fruit here but realized that Leona took it just now already. Anyways, here we're just continuing on our usual Varus game plan of just using our spells to poke enemies down. Here Zeri goes super duper aggressive all the way to try to kill me, does pop her Ghost, and Leona takes a chunk of damage as well, and Leona nearly dies, has to pop the Flash. Yeah, so honestly, even though I say we're stronger in the early game, we have not yet gotten our ultimates, so we don't really have a lot of DPS. I only have a lot of poke. Lulu flashes forward for the kill, walks back out through the tower, and I'm trying to finish the kill on her, but Zeri's kind of there, so here I'm trying to get the snipe on. I get the snipe on Zeri instead of the Lulu, which is honestly ideal. Now I have the Ghost active already. I flash forward to go for the Lulu, but the Lulu shield comes in together with the minions, unfortunately, so I do not get the kill. Unfortunately, I did not think that Lulu's E was going to come back up, so I thought that it was going to be a relatively simple kill, but the moment her E came back up, I knew I was dead because the whole minion wave was focusing me, so even if Lulu could not kill me, her minions would definitely do more damage than her and definitely would have gotten the kill instead. So a little bit unfortunate there, or rather I should say it's a poor decision on my part to not consider or count the cooldown of her E, so I do end up in the end dying for it and also wasting my flash. But anyways, action-packed bot lane. All summoner spells on both sides have been used up, so if any jungle kind of ganks, it's gonna be a really exciting lane. So yeah, honestly, as I mentioned in like one of my Zeri videos, Zeri isn't really even weak in the early game, at least especially compared to like League PC, because Zeri can spam her Q to like poke you down, and Zeri also does decent amounts of damage in the early game, so she really isn't even that weak. So So we don't really even have that big of an advantage, although I would still say we do have an advantage over them, especially if we can get an all-in, where of course Leona has a lot of chain CC with basically all of her spells other than her W, and I of course have my ulti to chain CC as well. So if we manage to lock someone down, they probably should be dead. No reason that they should stay alive. But you know, as long as that doesn't happen, you know, me and Zeri just gonna be poking each other down. Obviously, I'll outrange her by a country mile. However, I still have to walk up to get CS, so that still leaves a window for me to get poked. So overall, it's just gonna be a poke game, pretty much on both sides, and yeah, so just poke CS, you know, etc. See, now we're trying to poke, they're trying to poke, and we're both just trying to get CS as well. So here, I was going to back, but I spot a fight happening in the river where my jungle is fighting, and I'm going to rotate over, wait for the Kayn to come out, pop the ulti on him, get the burst down on him, and Zeri's getting chain CC. She's going down, and here, Lulu, last man standing, and can't really run from all three of us. So here, really important thing to note here is how you cancel your recall to help out your teammates. Now, these 3 kills would not have happened if we just saw... Or the worst case scenario is we didn't even see anything going on, and then we recall, Mastery just dies to the 3 of them. That's a disaster. Possibly number 2 is we recall, we see Mastery in trouble, but we just ignore him and then we just back, and that's also bad because Mastery still dies 1v3 and he's still gonna flame you most likely. But anyways, most important thing there is to cancel the recall and go and help your teammate, because honestly, as I said in the early stages of the game, as long as we can lock people down, we are stronger. So Varus, Leona against Zeri and Lulu should be stronger, and Kayn does not yet have form. So at this point in time, Mastery should be stronger than Kayn because Kayn doesn't have form. Like, a base form Kayn barely does anything. So this should be a winning 3v3. So we should, of course, rotate and go to the fight. Now, if we were the Zeri Lulu, this could be a different situation. But if you're the stronger side, you definitely always want to be at the fight. So during this whole time, because we were in that fight, we had to back, and this gives the opportunity for the enemy team to pick up a dragon. Now, this is kind of the thing that I find really weird about Wild Rift, which is the fact that death timers in the early game are really short, and you can win a fight, recall to get back your health. Of course, we did get a tower play in between, but you can win a fight, recall to get back your health. And any team can respawn at the same time as you, or earlier than you because of the short death timer, and you can actually get punished from winning a fight by losing a dragon or losing a herald, which really does not make sense, but this is indeed the case. So here Zeri for some reason is trying to 1v1 me, but as I mentioned, we are way stronger than her in the early game, especially because she doesn't have Lulu. So she jumps at me, I simply just ult her and just kill her, which gives me free reign to take more tower plates, 2 tower plates in the back for me, as well as an extra kill. And we're gonna quickly just clear out this wave because we are of course building lethality, so we clear out the wave real quickly. And because we have no vision of the enemy team, we don't know where anybody is, we don't want to greed and overstay to get the wave. You never know, a Kayn might be running straight from base towards us, or you never know what's gonna happen. So we complete our lethality boots and then pick up our serrated dirk as well, so getting in our 16 lethality total from these 2 items. And then we're gonna head back out onto the map, where of course Lulu and Zeri are back in the lane. Leona manages to go in onto the Lulu, and I don't want to really pop my ulti on the Lulu. I mean, firstly I'm polymorphed, but secondly I didn't want to waste the ulti on the Lulu, so I managed to kill the Lulu without the ulti, and look at that chunk on the Zeri for half health there. Here, obviously, if Zeri comes anywhere near, I can just flash out her. So here you can see I'm positioning very aggressively, trying to find and see if she's under tower. Even if she's under tower, I flash out her, she is still dead. But fortunately for her, she does realize that, and she does walk way further back than the tower to actually back. So a pretty good play on the Zeri's part. Now we're going to finish up this tower, and you know, now with the tower gone, we have a little bit more free reign to roam to other lanes. Of course, the first step is to clear out the minions, and then we can move over to other lanes and see if we can do anything. Of course, off of the tower kill, we can of course back to get items, but looks like we are in the end going to rotate to mid. Vex is actually recalling, so now the wave that is perfectly crashing in the middle, we're just going to quickly take this wave. Pretty much 1 Q is all you need to one-shot a wave that doesn't have a cannon. And I believe I was a little goal short, which is why I went for this wave. And here we have our Youmuu's Ghostblade. So, looking at Serpent's Fang potential in this match, Honestly, there's not a lot of shielding. The main shielding comes from Lulu, and you can argue that Lulu's shielding is quite a lot. And of course, Zeri can steal shields as well, so she can steal shields from like Vex, for example. So I would say there's still a little amount of shielding. So Serpent's Fang is still pretty okay item to go. Like I would always go Serpent's Fang over going for Duskblade unless there's completely no shielding. Then I would go for Duskblade. But since there's still a little bit, I would still go for it here. You can see a huge party happening down in the bot lane. We're running over as fast as we can, popping the ghost as well, hitting the ulti on the Lulu and just finishing her off. Down goes Darius as well, and Zeri is next to follow. So beautiful team fight from my team. Me and the Vex on the rotation gave our team the numbers to actually take the fight. And here's Sweet Tooth coming in for like the first time this match because all of the fruit has been taken like by Leona or other people at other places. So yeah, not a lot of Sweet Tooth value in this match, to be honest. Here Lucian tries to defend his tower but makes a fatal mistake, gets sniped by me, and down he goes. So here, our team is just trying to kite back, but enemy team is of course giving chase. So here we're just going to, I'm just going to lay down some damage as a little bit of cover fire to sort of dissuade the enemy team from chasing us down. But here we're going to finally be able to get to a safe-ish spot, and we're going to just back. Dragon is 10 seconds from spawning, so we do kind of need to get over there to of course contest the dragon. So here I'm going to work towards building my Serelda's Grudge. Now there is a decent amount of healing on the enemy team, like from Red Cane, for example. Darius has a little bit of healing as well, and yeah. So however, it's not an absurd amount of healing, so I still think that you know, it's okay to go for Serelda's. Here Darius really tanky. I can't really burst him down though. He nearly I mean technically not nearly, but if he panicked a little bit less, I think he may have actually been able to kill us, because after he ulted, I still took like 1 or 2 more attacks to kill him. So if he instead used that time to auto attack us down twice more and then ult, probably could have killed us, but he kind of panicked and ulted immediately, so he does not get the kill on us. Huge wave stacking up on the top lane. So here we're just going to quickly clear out these waves. Of course with Varus' passive, a lot more easy to clear out the lane because of the movement speed. Here Sweet Tooth coming in again, restore us back up to full health, as well as give us the goal. So here we're gonna back. We have not yet gotten our boots enchant. I didn't really mention Varus' boot enchant in my build section of the video, but of course, as usual, you can go for Stacy Secure Assess, but another really good option for Varus is actually Proto Belt, because Varus has completely no mobility at all. So going for Proto Belt is actually going to allow you to Proto Belt forward to ult someone, so you don't have to waste your flash, or you can Proto Belt away when someone is chasing you down. So here enemy team is trying to contest our jungle for some reason, so we're going to rotate straight on over to see what we can do about the situation. Here we're kind of on the chase. I managed to get the ult on to the Lulu instead of the Zeri, but it doesn't really matter because we do end up getting both of them anyways. Here Kayn is able to actually back, so we can't really catch him out, but we can try to catch this wave instead, which is basically what we do. And here in the meanwhile, you know, since there's nothing else to really farm, Mastery is going to opposite on the map. I'm just going to farm the jungle up. Kale for some reason is trying to take the red buff, so I wanted to actually wait for Mastery to let him take the red buff, but because Kale is starting out the red buff, I have to go for the red buff instead. Kale does give it to me though, so that's fine. But yeah, I'm 7-1 and 7, incredibly fed at 11k gold. Like Mastery is also at 11k gold, so that's why I wanted to give him the buff share, but I didn't really want Kale of all people to take the buff because she's not exactly doing the best. Like KDA is fine, but she's like 7k gold compared to me and Mastery, who has like 4k gold more than her, so she's not really doing that good. And in fact, she has basically the lowest gold in the game, even less than our support. So yeah, she really isn't doing very well. So here I'm trying to defend the tower. Really good wave clear to Lethality Varus, so we're not having too much trouble with that. Full on fight breaks out over here, and our team is not really ready to fight. Here I managed to isolate the Darius and finish the kill on him. And then off of that, we have Leona as our frontline. Unfortunately, she flashes away, so we don't have a frontline anymore, and we do end up going down. So that's pretty unfortunate. So Mastery in this whole time, he's split pushing, so Lucian is sent back to stop him. He just kills Lucian under tower, resets the tower aggro with his Q, and then he's look at that attack speed, by the way. It's full stack Lethal Tempo, plus a full stacked Phantom Dancer, plus a Blade of the Rune King. Just takes down the tower instantly and makes the enemy panic and back. Honestly, what the enemy team should have done here is probably tried to trade mid lane tower, because you know, they can't. The Mastery's not gonna end the game anyway, but we do have some respawns coming in, so maybe that's why they backed off, which wouldn't be too bad of an idea. But Mastery just managed to trade an inhib for all our lives, so it ends up being not too bad of a trade. Of course, here, as I mentioned, I'm going to build towards my next Lethality item, which is going to be the Serpent's Fang, most likely. And here, we're just going to clear out these minions. And yeah, nothing too much happening here. The only objective on the map is Baron, but we could try to force it, but I think it's really, really risky, so we aren't really fighting over anything at the moment. Sort of that neutral state of the game here. Lucian oversteps a little bit too much, gets a little bit caught out. Lulu is not getting caught instead. We're just gonna snipe down the Lulu, and he basically pays for Lucian's sins. Here, just gonna take out the Kayn as well with the ulti to peel for our team. And here Vex goes in, gets the double kill onto Zeri, and enemy team is just falling apart because they're all dying one by one over nothing. Darius is the only one left alive, and he is split pushing. So here, I'm actually calling to end because of the inhib that Master Yi took earlier. They don't actually have a Nexus shield anymore. I think Darius does not notice this, and he doesn't actually even back. So you can see him at the last second chanting the recall, but it was too late. So anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.